Hello, everyone. This is the Crimson Cure, welcoming you to the Crimson Tower, a place where we keep a feminine foot on the neck of the gynocracy, feminism, and black male misandry. So go ahead, pull up a chair, stay a while, and listen.
Okay, we're downloading A-Game's formula.
3, 2, 1.
Hey there, my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel. I am your host, femininity coach, and author of the Crimson Cure, and this is my perspective. So, yesterday I did a live stream, which you can check out right here, that was talking about threat, talking about the threat that women can present to men in relationships, and how the gynocrat actually, they present all of these threats to men. They don't bother taking the threats off of the table. They actually put more threats on. But what I didn't do was I didn't talk about what the lioness does with these threats and talk about what a lioness, a feminine woman, a red pill woman, what she does with these threats. And the reason why I named it 5 things feminine women do to get married is because men are not marrying because of the threat level, because women present such a threat, especially in this country, in this gynocratic, feminist-driven country that we're in. So without further ado, let's go ahead and name the 5 things that feminine women do to get married. Now, the first thing that she does is that she understands she's a threat. You have to understand that you are a threat. Women have inherent threat within them. Even if you are a feminine woman, even if you are a lioness, at some point you have been a threat to a man, or he has perceived you as a threat. Now, mind you, all of these things are not necessarily conscious. They aren't necessarily something that you're doing on purpose to be threatening or to do any of these things. However, that doesn't stop a man from perceiving you from actually being threatening. Okay. So the first thing as feminine women that we have to actually do is understand that we are and have been and probably will be at some point a threat to husbands and potential husbands. Okay. All right. So we have to understand that we could possibly present issues to him according to the 10 life values. So when we take a look at this, and let me go ahead and move this out of the way. When we take a look at this, okay, the threat of black women, the gynocrats who side with feminism support the threat narrative of black men. So as you can see, each one of these are noted behind or named after the 10 life values. And these are the 10 main areas that women actually can present threats to men If you watch the video that I pointed you to earlier, you'll actually hear me point out all of the different ways in which a woman can be threatening under these categories. So with that being said, we go back to understanding that you are a threat. I know this may be difficult for feminine women to hear, that you probably are a threat, and you probably thinking to yourself, no, I would never do none of that stuff. You probably have done it at some point, and not even really realized what you were doing or how detrimental it could be to your relationship, how that man is seeing those threats, how he's seeing your behavior, how he's seeing the way that you move. Okay, so really today, I'm just bringing awareness to feminine women about the threat level, because again, this is why men aren't marrying. It doesn't really have anything to do with a whole lot else. Men want to get married, even with the laws the way that they are. However, women have to prove that they are not going to pull the trigger, so to speak, on any of these things in his life to ruin him in any way. So after we understand that we have been, could be, probably are on at least some level a threat, the next thing that we have to do is admit it. We have to admit it to ourselves. We have to be able to say it to ourselves. I'm a threat. As a woman in this country, I am automatically a problem. Any man, despite how well we get along, despite how much he might love me, like me, want me, and all of these things, he's still in the back of his mind thinking that at any point I can pull these triggers. At any point, I can make his life a living nightmare, and I can do that without notice. I can flip without notice. Okay, there's even a saying in this space, women go left, all women go left. Because and that saying is being said because every woman can possibly pose a threat, even if it is subconscious. Again, this isn't necessarily something that the feminine women are doing on purpose, but it's there and it can be there. All right, so we have to be able to admit to ourselves that even as feminine red pill women, I have an inherent threat, and men are seeing that. As they see your qualities, yes, they see your personal market value, yes, they see your marriage market value, yes, they see your belonging market value, and all these good things. That's why they're over there talking to you. That's why they're with you. That's why they want you. But that doesn't do anything about the threat that you could possibly pose, or that you may be subconsciously posing already. All right. So after you admit that you are a threat, number 3, manage your threat level. Now, this one is where it gets a little tricky, because usually we rely on men to kind of tell us what the threats are, because we don't really perceive it that way in the first place. So we have to start managing our threat level. All right. We have to start making sure that we're not overtly consciously trying to pull these triggers out. Okay. One of the things that you have to do in managing it is that you have to realize, go down the list. When you look at the video again, go down the list and see where you might pull one of them triggers, and then ask yourself why. What could be happening in your relationship with this man that would make you want to ruin him in certain areas? Because I guarantee you, if you're thinking about ruining this man in any one of those areas, you got some femininity to work on. You got some gynocracy thought patterns to rid yourself from. Because no feminine woman actually wants to ruin a man, even if she doesn't want that man anymore, even if the relationship must dissolve. As feminine women, we're not thinking about how to take this guy down. Okay, if we have to exit a relationship, we do so with dignity, femininity, grace, and class. That's what we do. And if it's possible to maintain some amicability during the breakup process or after it, then that's what we do. At the very least, we leave quietly, never to bother that man again. We don't become the crazy ex. We don't become the obsessed ex and all of this foolishness, try to bring him down, basically try to ruin him and actually pull one or more of those triggers just because we might be hurt, the relationship might be over, or whatever the case may be. All right, so we have to be able to manage the threat level. Again, if you are of the mindset that you might pull one of them triggers, you got some gynocratic thinking that you've got to get rid of. You got some stinking thinking that you got to get rid of. Okay? Because again, a feminine woman is not looking to ruin a man even at the dissolution of the relationship, even if the relationship dissolved on bad terms. Even if it went on bad terms, even if you found yourself really heartbroken, or you found yourself really in a situation where it's like, man, I can't believe this is happening, and you're really angry about it, and you're really hurt about it, and you're really sad about it, you still have to maintain your own femininity. You still have to maintain your own integrity as a woman. You still, because presumably, if you are a red pill feminine woman, then you have a value system that dictates that you can't ruin him anyway, that you can't sink down to that level. Take the high road. You know, if he really did you dirty, then he's going to have to see that energy come back to him. But as a feminine woman, we're not making sure that we're the karma that reaches him. You know what I mean? Like, we have to make sure that we're not doing folks grimy, even if we got done dirty, even if we got, the short end of a stick. All right. So the fourth thing that a feminine woman does is she removes the threat. This is the thing that determines whether or not you can be married to a red pill man that has all of his stuff together and has all of his ducks in a row. Okay. When you remove the threat, that is when a man goes ahead and commits and says, okay, I'm not fearing that she's going to pull these various triggers. She's essentially gotten the gun out of the room, emptied the bullets, threw them across the fence, and the gun is somewhere else. She can't shoot me with it, even if she wanted to. So, and the key here is that you don't want to. That's the key. The key for feminine women is that we don't want to pull these triggers. And to prove that we don't want to, we actually have to remove this threat. Now, only the man can determine whether or not the threat has been removed to his satisfaction. But when we do this, what we have to do is, this goes into the proving of who we are. This goes into passing the vetting process of time, toll, trouble, and more importantly, the threat part of the 4 T's. We have to actually prove that through our femininity, through our integrity as women. Always telling the truth. First of all, first and foremost, not proving to be dodgy and shisty and shifty all over the place. You're chaotic all over the place. You say one thing, you do another. You're bound to be lying about your threat level and whether or not you removed it, because just that level of chaos alone is a threat, right? Just those things alone are threats. They are threats. Showing up to relationships entitled, showing up to relationships with superiority complexes, trust issues, power struggle issues, lack of discipline, and all of these various other dysfunctions that you might be experiencing. All of that plays out to a man as a threat, because at any point, due to your delusional states or, practicing hypergamy in a harmful way, monkey branching, getting tired of the relationship, nothing's going on, you're just looking for problems, looking for trouble, and all of this type of stuff, then this is what he reads as a threat from you. This is what he doesn't want. The day that you actually remove that from him, the day that he actually feels comfortable and saying, okay, I know that this woman that I'm with is not going to harm me. She doesn't even want to do it. Okay, she doesn't even want to. She doesn't want to be a threat on my wealth. She doesn't want to be a threat on my health. She's not going to try to get me caught up by proxy, violence by proxy. She's not going to try to divorce me and take me for everything that I have. She's not going to show up at my job just because she's mad and yell and act a fool in front of my workplace. Like, she's not going to, make me look bad in front of her family, my family, you know what I'm saying, and all of these other things. Like, she's not doing that stuff. And she's proven through her integrity, through her word, through her actions, and how she's behaving with me in these various situations. I've seen her be angry. I've seen her, be upset. And I've seen what she does, not only with me, but with other people when she gets into the space, and she don't do them dirty either. So she's not somewhere pulling threats on everybody else and then coming to me acting like she ain't gonna pull no threat with me. When I know better, I see what she's doing. What's good for the goose is good for the gander at that point, right? So this is the fourth thing that a feminine red pill woman is doing. This gets you married. This is the one that gets the commitment, the removal of the threat. Now, feminine women don't just stop at the commitment. We actually are helpmeets to our husbands once we actually solidify the commitment and the marriage to him. So that, that vetting process does not stop for us, and we don't stop qualifying for it. And in order to really go that extra mile and really just be the wives that you said that you were going to be, you have to reverse the threat. So what does that mean? If you remove the threat, Crimson Cure, how do you reverse it? Because you remove the threat. The reversal of the threat is when you become an asset and not a liability, because the threat itself is the liability. It's a complete liability. He's in the negative dealing with you if all you're going to do is be a threat and present all of these threats to him in the course of the relationship. So what you want to do is you actually want to reverse your threat and become an asset, become a helpmeet to him. So instead of being the woman that he fears is going to usurp all of his wealth, you're actually the one that's going to help him not only maintain the wealth that he has already accumulated before you, but you're going to help him accumulate more while he's with you. So whatever education and knowledge and all of these things that you have, whatever business acumen you have, whatever proper insight you have, you're going to give this to him so that he can make better decisions that reap benefit for the both of you. Okay, instead of being the woman that he's scared is going to up and divorce him one day over absolutely nothing, you're the one that assures him that the relationship is fine. And also, if you have children, you're the one that's inculcating his mission, his purpose, his culture to his children in a way that he finds satisfactory. All right. You're not running around town planting seeds, trying to making sure that his reputation is bad. As a matter of fact, you're doing everything within your power to make sure that his reputation is good among family, friends, business partners, associates, and so on. All right. You're not holding a victim mentality. You're not holding perpetual victimhood and making his home an untenable place for him to stay. His possessions aren't safe. You're going through phones, you're going through emails, you're going through social, like, you're not doing that. As a matter of fact, he should be able to know that he can leave his phone unlocked in your presence and you not touch it. Especially without his permission, that you simply don't do it. It's simply something that he's just not worried about at all, period. He's not worried that if you get into an argument, he's going to come back and his clothes going to be bleached. He's not worried about that. As a matter of fact, the arguments come few and far between with a red pill feminine woman, because we are not looking to have arguments in the first place. We are not looking to have severe disagreements and our households in an uproar, because we're not busy making his home an untenable place for him to be. We're busy making the home a beautiful, comfortable place for him to be that he can't wait to come back to whenever he leaves out and takes care of his business in the world. If your man can't wait to leave you, but he drag his feet coming back, you got some issues, beloved. You got some issues that you need to think about, that you need to deal with. So these are definitely the 5 things that a feminine woman does to get married. We'll go back over. You understand that you are a threat. Doesn't matter if you don't mean to be. It doesn't matter if it's subconscious or conscious or what. We are threats as women, okay? The second thing that you do is admit that you are a threat. You have to be able to admit it to yourself, and you have to be able to speak openly and candidly and admit it to him that you recognize that he's a threat, because a hyena is just going to stop at understanding. She's not going to do any of the rest of this, because doing the rest of this actually removes the threat, and she's not looking to do that. So number 1, understand you're a threat. Number 2, admit you're a threat. Number 3, manage your threat levels. Start trying to get all of that chaos that's within you under some type of control. Put yourself under some type of system, order, and structure, whether that be your spiritual system or what have you. Whatever you've got going in your life that can provide some order to you so that you can bring some of that chaos down, and thus that threat level that you manage, you need to go ahead and do that. And ask yourself the hard questions. Do I want to pull the trigger on any of those things? And if you do, you've got some work to do, beloved, on your value system. And you've got some work to do to get some of that gynocentric thinking out of your system. The 4th thing is remove your threat. This is the one that actually gets you married, ladies. Okay, once a man no longer perceives the threat from you that he perceived before, and he realizes that you've removed it off of the table, this is when he becomes comfortable enough for a long-term commitment with you. And last but not least, number 5, you are reversing your threat, which meaning you are going from liability, and you're not even being neutral, you're being an asset. So there's the liability, which is the threat. There's the neutrality, which is the removal of the threat. And then there's the asset, which is the reversal of the threat. Okay, so you moving from the liability to being neutral. You're neither helping nor harming, and then you're helping, okay, by being an asset rather than a liability. All right. So hopefully that was helpful to the red pill feminine women who are listening to me about your threat level, and actually coming to understand what that means. When we say that, when men say that, what is that? It may help some women to discern why they've been in a long-term relationship with a man that appears to love them very much, and they're doing everything else, but he just won't commit. That's probably why you haven't removed all of those threats off of the table. That's probably like the number 1 reason that you don't get married. So you have to examine through this listing which one of these threats you're presenting, and then remove it and then reverse it. And I guarantee you pretty much he's going to marry you, especially if he's this close to it, kind of wants it, but that apprehension is what's stopping him. Okay. All right. So the question on the table is this: do you understand what the threats are? Are you willing to these things to get married? Love to hear everyone to sound off in the comment section about this. I would love to hear the ladies' thoughts on this. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your host, The Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.
Hey guys, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. And if you've got more to say on the topic, leave a comment down below. Also, don't forget to support our sponsor, who so graciously supports this channel by clicking the description box and the link for A-Game at agameherbal.com. You can go ahead and get a 10% discount off of your next purchase using the code Kendra10. This has been yet another Crimson Cure production, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.